From Jamie giving himself up to the worst villain of the show, to fans growing tired of the show's use of distress as entertainment, here's why Outlander needs to stop with the rescuing shtick. Anyone who's read Diana Gabaldon's Outlander novels must have had a pretty good idea of what was coming. But let me tell you, seeing Season 1's finale play out on screen was on a whole other level. Claire broke into Wentworth Prison with one goal in mind: to save Jamie from the sadistic Blackjack Randall. But Jamie, in a selfless act of sacrifice,
and at that time, you saw that Jamie didn't break.
I'm just afraid I'll freeze stiff before you're done cooking.
offered himself up to Randall so that Claire could escape. And boy, did Randall make sure to leave his mark on Jamie literally by nailing his hand to a freaking table. The show writers went all in, putting all the gory details from the book onto film.
And so it was a great relief to me when we got the opportunity to do a 16-episode television series. I was thinking, well, at least there'll be room. You know, I knew Ron Moore had a great reputation as a storyteller and a filmmaker.
Blackjack actually threatens to kill Claire if Jamie doesn't give himself up to him. And of course, nothing is more important to our hero than saving the love of his life. But Claire wasn't going to leave Jamie alone to suffer. She cooked up a plan with Myrta to sneak into the prison and rescue her man before they set sail to France together. This scene definitely proved that Jamie and Claire would go to any lengths to protect each other. I mean, remember when Claire sleeps with the king to save Jamie? Yeah, Jamie lands himself in prison for dueling with, once again, Blackjack Randall. Then Claire has to take matters into her own hands to save him. So what does she do? She goes to meet the king and pleads for Jamie's freedom. But hold on tight, because this is where things take an awful turn. In a jaw-dropping twist, Claire's forced to make a deal with the king. To secure Jamie's release, she has to use her La Dame Blanche abilities and sleep with the king himself. Talk about sacrificing everything for love. But why does Jamie duel with Blackjack in the first place? That's another instance of him playing the hero after finding out that Blackjack had been preying on young Fergus, assaulting him in a brothel. But before you lose all faith in humanity, let's focus on the silver lining here. Despite everything they've been through, Jamie and Claire somehow managed to find hope in their relationship, even if their dynamic is a little weird sometimes. One scene that I just can't forget though is the one where Claire touched her loved back to life. I said what I said. In season 5, episode 9, poor Jamie is on the brink of death and demands to be returned to his bed so Claire can be by his side. That makes sense, right? But Jamie's condition worsens, and he asks Claire to touch him. With a love as strong as the one these two have, that's not an unfair demand, right? But then, out of the blue, he seemingly kicks the bucket right in the middle of their conversation. Cue the dramatic music! So what does Claire do in this critical moment? Does she spring into action performing life-saving CPR or frantically calling for help? She is a doctor after all. But no, my friends, brace yourselves for this one. Claire decides to strip off her nightdress and do exactly what Jamie asked her to do. And, well, stimulating him seems to do the trick, because that's exactly what brings the man back from the brink of death. I'll give you a moment to let that one sink in. Because who knew that the secret to resuscitation lay in the hands of an intimate encounter? That's one NSFW way of saving someone. But all this rescuing isn't just limited to these two. Honestly, at this point, I feel like half the storylines in this show are about people saving one another from danger. Like that scene in season 1 where Jamie got flogged to protect his sister. I'll give this one to the writers. It was a display of pure sibling love. The story behind the scars on Jamie's back goes a little something like this. While Jamie and Jenny were tending to their land at Castle Leak, Blackjack Randall came in with his group of redcoats with the intention of attacking Jenny. But that's where our hero stepped in to save the day, doing everything he could to save his sister. So of course, Blackjack decided to flog him in retaliation. Not to mention the time that the Scottish Highlander, despite knowing that the Jacobites would fail in their uprising at Culloden, he still led the soldiers in the battle against the Redcoats, ready to give his life that day. Jamie would never let his fellow Scots die without fighting by their side, which just goes to show that Jamie can do anything for the people he loves, and Claire's no different. In fact, Fans keep wondering why Jamie and Claire keep helping bad people, since it never seems to work out in their favor. According to a fan on Reddit, they stated, "How many times are y'all going to go through this song and dance before you learn to stop trying to redeem everybody?" That's not all though. Viewers think that season 5 is the worst of it, since it's just riddled with instances where the lovers keep trying to help bad characters who've proven time and time again that they're terrible people. I guess it has something to do with the fact that Claire's a doctor and has literally taken an oath to protect everyone in need. But some fans think that she takes it a bit too far sometimes. Case in point, her saving her attackers and kidnappers in season 5. I mean, where does it stop? It's a miracle that Claire ends up having sympathy for people who straight up tried to end her life, including Jack Randall. Can you believe she asked Jamie to spare his life because his death would stop Frank from being born? That's where I draw the line. Sure, Claire saved Jamie's life a bunch of times, and he's done the same, without demanding anything in return for it. Sometimes, it just feels like the characters of the show can never be happy. But then again, with great love comes great struggle. Here's the deal. Claire's from the 20th century, and it was not easy for a woman like her to exist in the 1700s, with her values, where no one except for Jamie accepts her for who she is. So it makes sense for the tone of the show to be a little dark, since that's what adds to the drama of the narrative. But with such a captivating plot, fans are now wondering whether Outlander really needs to use all these awful plot devices. Whether it's the book or the series, major characters being assaulted left and right without any real impact on the plot, or their character arcs just gets a bit too much at times. But I get it. I see how these events have some validity as plot points, but it's starting to feel like a pattern now. The themes of violence have pretty much taken over the show, overshadowing everything else. Heck, even in the earlier seasons, Claire and the gang get assaulted or harassed in just about every other episode, like Fergus getting assaulted, setting off a chain reaction, leading to Claire's devastating miscarriage. Where does the trauma end? Not in season 7, that's for sure, since the season premiere was all about Jamie rushing to save his one true love. In the first episode of the new season, you find Claire behind bars, anxiously awaiting her trial for the murder of Malva Christie. Meanwhile, our hero Jamie's narrowly escaped the clutches of being shanghaied, all thanks to young Ian. And Jamie's first order of business? Rescuing Claire. But it looks like things are different this time around, because Jamie can't just swoop in and save Claire with his dashing heroics this time, not without compromising his political beliefs at least. See, the governor, being the sneaky devil he is, has a proposition for Jamie. The only way he'll set Claire free is if Jamie raises a battalion of men from Fraser's Ridge to fight alongside the Redcoats. Talk about a tough decision. According to Diana Gabaldon, the brilliant mind behind the best-selling novels, Jamie is definitely bothered by the choice he has to make, but he's desperate to reunite with her, so he might just end up compromising on his own morals to rescue the woman he loves. And honestly, I won't be surprised if that does end up happening. So, from the fans growing tired of the show's use of distress as entertainment, to Jamie giving himself up to the worst villain of the show, this was why Outlander needs to stop with the rescuing shtick.
Give the command to charge while there is still